Hi folks, Dave with DBS Tech Talk. And today we're going to talk about the Sony MDR-Z7 M2s. First of all, I want to thank Omega for sending these in for a review. Do greatly appreciate it. And Omega, you rock. These things are awesome. Just spoiler alert. Okay, so the Sony MDR-Z7 M2s come in a box that a lot of other manufacturers should implement. This is one of the best storage boxes around that have come with a headphone. And yeah, very Sennheiser-esque. You open it up and you have an area for your cables and your headphones. The cables that come with it, you get two cables. You get one that I did not use, which is a 4.4 millimeter Pentacon, and it has those spinny connector Sony Y. All right. Next cable is a big 10-foot cable, very nicely branded. Has a chunky metal, says Sony on it, and a big old strain relief. 3.5 with a step down, so it's easy to plug into phones. And then on the other end, you have your connectors, which are red and white. So you know red is for right, white is for left. Then it has your split, which says MDR-Z7 M2 and China, so you know for sure where your headphones are made. And it's a very nice cable, rubberized. It's a little long at 10 foot, but it works great. Omega also sent over a balanced cable, which has a 4-pin XLR, and then the same old connectors. The headphones themselves, do bear in mind these do not have the stock pads, so check out the link down below for the pads that Omega put on these, and I'll get into the reasoning for that in a moment. So, very Sony-esque looking headphone. Pretty much all of Sony's headphones have a very similar build and a very similar style, just look to them. All black, says Sony on the cups. And then you have your nice padded headband with the sliders. They go from 0, or actually 1 to 10. I wear them on number 5, so right in the middle. You get plenty of swivel and wobble, and so these will fit anything and everything as far as head shapes. One little quibble is where it slides in. There's a very, like a cylinder right here, and it comes all the way up to here on your headband. So you don't really have a whole lot that goes on top of your head. If you do not expand your the headphone very far, you will feel that on the top of your head. So it'll press like right here on your head, just a little bit. Not too bad. Clamp force isn't bad on these, but if you have a smaller head, you may feel that area just a little bit. They didn't put a whole lot of padding on it, but not that big of a deal. 70 millimeter driver put into these, and so there is a huge driver. It's all underneath here. Very hard to see on camera, but if you take your pad off, you can see how massive it is. Also, the link down below will show a diagram of the headphone, and you can see that. The pads that Omega put on here are slightly angled and are perforated on the inside. Extremely comfortable. One of the most comfortable headphones that I have worn, especially of a closed back design. Pads do get a little warm after a while. About an hour and a half or so, they'll start making your ears get a little toasty. Have to take a quick break, but haven't had too many issues comfort-wise. The stock pad is very similar to the ones that he put on, only a couple differences. The major difference is they are not as thick, and that causes a little bit of a problem as it kind of crunches against the side of your head a little bit more. You feel the clamp force just slightly, and also they're not as angled, and so you ended up with a sound that Sounded a little harsh in the mids, and the treble was a little energetic and a little tizzy. I didn't mind it most of the time, but you had songs where it just was very noticeable. And the pads that Omega put on them seems to balance out the mids better and brings forth a more fullness sound to it, and cleans up the haze, the little bit of harshness that the mids had, and then it helps quell those treble peaks just a little bit and smooths it out, and so you don't have those moments of, wow, that's a little too much energy and a little too shouty and harsh in the treble. So I definitely recommend the alternate pad if you have these headphones, and so check out the link down below for them. And you can get them from AliExpress. Might take you a little bit to get them, but they definitely are worth it. So comfort wise is good. Extremely light. Do not have any problems. The isolation of them is okay, 50% blockage of outside noises, and they do leak noise also. Even though they are closed back, they have these vents, and so you can hear, other people can hear what you're listening to, especially if you crank the volume up a little bit. How do the Sony MDR-Z7 M2 sound? Awesome. So awesome that I had to ask Omega for a couple extra days because I didn't want to return them. So the bass on the Sony MDR-Z7 M2s. Well, 70mm dynamic driver, and Sony says that they have a frequency response of 4 Hz to 100 kilohertz. There is absolutely no human on Earth, even if you have perfect hearing, that can hear the frequency response of the Sony MDR-Z7 M2s. Absolutely no way. Most humans hear anywhere from 20 Hertz to 20 kilohertz or thereabouts. Some can hear a little bit beyond, or, you know, obviously some people, you've lost a little bit of your hearing, so you hear a little less. But there's not anybody that can hear 4 Hertz or 100 kilohertz. If you tell me that you can, you're not human. I'm sorry, you're from another planet. So anyways, the bass. The bass on the Sony MDR-Z7 M2s is amazing. Its reaches very deep into the sub bass. You get a really nice thump, a very impact. You can have that rumble that you want out of the sub bass, and you feel it when the song calls for it. And it doesn't distort, it doesn't get all muddied up or thick or anything. It's right where it should be. I mean, you feel it how you want to. It's there. The mid bass and the upper bass are very, very nicely done. They have good details and clarity. None of it is too accentuated, so it doesn't overpower the rest of the mix. The bass is where it should be, with impact and fun. I mean, these are a fun can, but they also can give you the details and the clarity that you want. So these really play well to both the average listener and also to a purist audiophile. They'll make both of you happy because it's got that in the bass, and then it also has the details and the clarity and just the definition and the tonality of them. To make your audiophile purists go, yeah, these are good headphones. The mids, when you get the alternate pad on, the mids balance out a little bit and you get a little more clarity and detail in them. They have a nice body to them. They sound full. They sound natural. They have good tonality, and you really can tell the differences between instruments and between vocals. They're a very engaging mid. And then in the treble, It extends way out there, as I said, 100K. The extension is great. There's not any real peaks to it. It's very smooth and leveled out, especially with the alternate pad. As I said, with the stock pads, you do get a little bit of sibilance, a little bit of sharpness and harshness every now and then. But when you put these alternates on, it really smooths out the treble and extends very well. And you have nice air to it, very good spacing and details, and just glorious. So overall, the sound is very smooth and engaging with a fun, detailed bass. Soundstage on this is actually really impressive for a closed back headphone, and it almost has a soundstage that sounds like it could be open, especially on songs by like Amber Rubarth or Vangelis, things like on Enya, things like that have a lot of ambient sounds. Yoshi Horikawa, songs like that by those artists, they sound really wide. And then at times when you have something that's a little more intimate and close, they can bring it in, but it never feels cramped and it never sounds way too spaced out. They do a really good job with their imaging. They're very pinpoint, very accurate. You know exactly where the sound's coming from, and you know exactly what the instrument is. They isolate very well, and they have extremely good accuracy. The layering and depth to them is very good. You can tell if somebody is really close to a microphone and somebody else is behind them. You can tell if they're over to the sides. You can hear things traveling around you, and things fade in and out very well. There's no gaps in the soundstage. These are a very good headphone. I'm really impressed by these. Omega, I am very thankful that you sent these over for a review, and I totally understand why you said what you have said about the Sony MDR-Z7 M2s. Very few things that I can complain about with these headphones. Just that little issue with the headband, and with the stock pads, every now and then they can be a little too energetic. Other than that, these are about perfect for me. Love them. Absolutely love them. Highly recommend them. If you can find a pair, I say if you can afford them, pick them up, get those alternate pads on, and use a balanced cable. All the gear behind me, how do they sound? They sound amazing on anything you throw at it. Doesn't matter if it's the THX AAA 788, if it's the APPJ PA1502A, if it's the Geshelli stack, if it's the Cavelli CTH or the LCX, if it's the IFI Audio Pro iCan, if it's the Geshelli Archel 1, if it's the JDS Labs Atom. Doesn't matter what DAC I'm using, whether I'm using SMSL, M100, THX, or Geshelli, sounds great. Yeah, it actually works off of a phone. Also, phones drive them very easily. Did not have any problems using an X-Duo link, using a little Venture Electronics USB-C DAC to a XLR, using the Razer DAC, using the access port light from ADV. It all works fantastic. I mean, the Sonys are easy to drive and they sound great. Now, they sound better with a desktop system, but you can use them portable also. The Sony MDR-Z7 M2s. Yeah. Yep, these are awesome. Incredible little device. It's been Dave with DBS Tech Talk. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of next video, somewhere on the screen is going to be a subscription link and a notification bell. If you haven't already, check those off. If you're interested in the alternate pads that were mentioned in this video, or a link to a Discord, or links to various other things, check out the links down below. Have yourself a fantastic day.